This Sunday. Every Sunday. Side by side at the microphone, from the green light to the speed trap, Chris Switzer and Ray Carino calls them as they sees them, and you better believe them. Here! Relevant news, biased opinions, and outright bullshit regarding every aspect of automotive culture. Gasp at mechanical trickery never before revealed over FCC-regulated airwaves. Thrill to the explosive tension as Chris and Ray cuss each other down the track and barrel roll across the finish line, laughing at certain disaster as they shake hands for the devil. All that and much more this Sunday at high noon on the Motormouth Radio Hour. Call in and speak live with the Wizards of Speed and live feed, Chris Switzer and Ray Carino. Bring the whole family. Kids under 12 get in free. Every Sunday at noon on WHPC. Take the Long Island Expressway to the Meadowbrook Parkway and look for the sign saying no parking on the expressway and no express service on the parkway. Go right on Highway 24 to Garden City. $2 all-day parking includes pit pass. Sunday!
Hey, whoa, that's kind of loud. We're switching up a little bit. We're on the groovy side, the funky side this morning on Motormouth Radio, Long Island's only automotive talk show with your hosts, Ray Guarino, and on bass, Chris Switzer. How are you, Chris?
I'm being the mega bass, Ray.
Yeah, man.
I'm the bass man.
When they say something is so good, you got to, like New York, you got to say it twice. Well, this is got some good feedback on our Barney Miller theme song. That was a real funky one.
Like, wow, man, it was just totally cha-cha, you know?
And I'll tell you two things.
What?
Macroman Brian said he actually had to made sure he went back to see the YouTube video of this show just to see your reaction when the audio track started. Because he noticed that you have a very specific reaction at times to the audio that I play. And I don't always see it because I'm not looking at you. I'm looking at other things. But he noticed it. So he went back just to see that. He says, yeah, I wasn't disappointed. And
what, when you play your heavy metal vomit kill your parents music, that stuff?
Well, all the hot rod stuff or whatever. And I will tell you, I got some good feedback this week. Other guys have listened too. Stan, our buddy Stan from the Corvette Society, he listened. He tuned in to see the Plane and Traffic video feed. In fact, I said, "Oh boy, you really get me at my best."
Wait, I could do an imitation of Ray in Playing in Traffic. Hold on one second. Let me do it.
Yeah, well. Sometimes it all depends on the week. I found that some other people this week were talking a little more than me. So you know what? When someone else steps up and takes the stage, I'll sit back and let them go. I don't know.
I think there's a slate, just an image, a slate of you that you take a picture. You take a picture of that, and you kind of throw it in there, like you just take a picture of yourself before the show, because in your clothes, just one picture, one frame, and you pop it in there, and then you go up and maybe go to the bathroom, make a sandwich or something. There's that image is right there.
Could be.
Yes, I know. Your secret's out.
It's at night, you get tired. But also, there was a fellow I met last year at one of the cruise nights. This guy Rick. We talked about it. He's had a really cool Studebaker. The black Stud, a Lark.
Yeah, it's a Lark Daytona. Yeah, it's 63 or 64. Very pretty car.
So saw him yesterday as well, and he said, yeah, I've been listening to the show. So we know that, well, we don't know, but now we know there's guys out there that do listen and keep tabs.
So what do we tell them, Ray?
Call in. Yeah, call the show and talk like we talk in person. We're going to talk to you, so call in and talk to us. And
describe, prescribe, subscribe.
At 516-572-7440. Or Cliff was asking for the text number.
Oh, Cliff, do I have a text number for you? It's 203-670-4127. I know you have thumbs, and I know you could use them.
Excellent. One more time, in case he wasn't writing it down.
Let me say it faster. 203-670-4127. Tell your friends. Tell your mom. It's a great number. I could read and interrupt Ray at any moment with news and information that comes in electronically.
Seems like Joe the Undertaker owns that line these days.
Yes, he does.
And You can follow us on social media, Motormouth Radio on Facebook, and on X, it's real_Motormouth Radio on Instagram, and on YouTube, you can find us at Motormouth Video or Motormouth Radio, where the show goes up on both of those channels later today.
Because this show is so nice that we video it twice.
Right. I don't know if it's dyslexic, what the heck it is, what we do it twice. Yeah. So anyway, we were talking before the show. I spent the day yesterday with Rick and Cliff, my buddies, and we had a great time. We went to Motorcar Classics, or Classic Motorcars, I think he says it both ways, out in Melville. What a place. It's you walk in and say, what is this place? It's like, I don't know, 88 or 1,000 square feet, something. It's huge. There's cars in there that you can store your car there if you like, and it's inside, it's all secure, and it's, climate controlled. Or Will Branson, that's who's the guy who runs it. We're gonna try and get him on the show with Stan in the future. He buys and sells. You can take cars on consignment, so you'll see everything from a Jolly to there was a BMW Z8. The Z8 was in there. I mean, the aluminum.
Did you say a Fiat Jolly?
You'll see everything in there.
Did it have doors?
Yeah, there's an FJ Cruiser in there. There's actually an FJ Cruiser, and I'm talking, you name it, the gamut: Mustangs, Porsches, Datsun Zs. I fell in love with the '65 Impala that got sold. Oh. Beautiful car, just done just the way I would want to do it, and there it was. Now we talk about prices and things, and how some cars, maybe have a couple $100,000 spent on them, and they end up selling for like 70 or 80 because that happens.
Right. You pay for the restoration, you get the car for free.
Pretty much. But nice time. We were out there last year. Again, went with the Corvette Society. We were there last year, went again yesterday, and Will provided a nice quick little lunch for us at the end of the day. It was nice. A lot of conversation, and you just wander around, you just walk through the cars and look. You branch off in your own little groups, and that's why Rick. I was there with Rick and Cliff, but the other guy, Rick with the stew, he was there. That's where I ran to him, and good time. Really nice. You would have loved it. We found a car for you. Cliff was always trying to pick out cars for you.
Not the Fiat Jolly, I hope.
No, a lot of caddies. Like I was saying, there were Eldorados, the big ones, either the convertibles or the hardtops, the 70s.
Gee, in your middle of Long Island. What a surprise.
I know. There was even one like I had, the 81. They had one, I mean, pristine 57 Baritz convertible. When do you see that in like a mint green? You don't see these cars. And we were talking about how impossible it would be to restore that car if you needed parts. If it was all there, it would be different. But
I remember Jay Leno doing a 57 Caddy. I think it was either a Baritz or a Coupe de Ville, and he spent over $20,000 in just the chrome.
Oh, sure.
And when I heard that, I almost fell out of the chair. Old habits die hard, and because we're at the age we are, I do remember those cars in salvage yards, and I do remember popping emblems off them when I was a kid, just prying them off.
Right.
You knew the car was destined for the crusher, so you knew you could just do whatever you can to butcher an emblem off them. But I do remember that, and now when you hear about those numbers, those eye-watering amounts for things like chrome for a car like that, it's impossible. It's damn near impossible for someone like you or I to take apart a car like that and put it back together again, or find parts for a car like that. It's the restoration process in a car like that is damn near impossible. So it's really nice when you see them in original condition or even restored. It's really nice. There are places up here too. There's a couple of places. My cousin Pat and I went to go see if we can get the Corvette stored. And I should have paid more attention because I was in the midst of looking at a sea of vehicles, like you say, here in the Stratford, Connecticut area. And there were, like you said, just acres and acres of vehicles that are bought, sold, and stored. So, and we'll go storage facility for storage facility. You get one, I'll get one. You get one, I'll get one.
Why was he looking to store the Corvette, may I ask?
Well, because he has too many cars and not enough garage space.
So, but why? I mean, so this isn't long-term storage. Just be like weekly storage, like car you can take out and use, right?
Well, yes and yes. Long-term storage meaning that over the winter, car kept from like an October, November to like a March, April.
Got you.
Okay. So looking for something along those lines, temporary but permanent.
Yeah.
So and storage is really a fascinating position. It's a fascinating job. I mean, profession, because of the fact that there are some cars that you would want stored for a long period of time. There are some cars that you may want to take out in January, so you may have it on a tender that you would have access to. So, oh, it's January, it's a 60-degree day, let's go get the car. And
Right.
you would have access to the storage facility and take the battery tender off, slam the hood, and go.
Right. Right.
Take it out for a day and then bring it back when you're done. There are places like that up here too that what would you say accessible.
Yeah. There's a place here in Garden City. I was there with Cliff and Rick again. Phil Caesar has a place, and same thing. He works on cars, but he also stores them. Everything is like double lifted, and that's another climate control facility.
Right.
And he said if if your car is there, if you want to take it out for a show or whatever this week, during the weekend, you give him, I don't know if it's a day, 2 days notice, whatever. Just let him know. He'll have that car brought out of storage, wherever it is, brought up front and center, cleaned off and ready to go, started, because they're on battery tenders, started and ready to go for you. Pick it up, take it out for your day, whatever, and you bring it back and they put it back into storage. So yeah.
And there is a hefty monthly charge for this little
I was gonna say,
convenience.
yeah, you need to. I don't know what his fee is, and I wouldn't even ask because that's something you wouldn't be.
I've heard somewhere in the many hundreds
Okay,
per month.
could be. Yeah, could
So,
be.
yeah, I've heard anywhere from $400 to $600 a month, and sometimes higher.
But if you don't have the storage at home, you don't have a place, and you got some income, that's not a bad idea because it's going to be done safe. It's going to be right. And let's see what John has to say about it because I'm sure he knows something. Let's say, hi, you're on with the Motor Mouths.
Yeah, oh my God. You just hit on a really sore subject.
It's the third Motor Mouth, Ray. It's John.
Hello, Chris. No, I was sitting there and like the veins were still popping out in my neck because, I went to a storage facility, not even climate controlled, no electric in it, and I got an introductory rate, which is about $200 a month.
Wow.
I believe it.
I thought it was reasonable to keep the car in.
Okay.
And after the introductory rate went out, it went up to over $300 a month.
Wow.
Still no electricity, still not climate controlled.
Electric, no lights.
Wow, that's no frills.
No frills. Not
So how many cars? How many cars would?
I'm not really worried about climate control. I'm sure there are guys that have cars that are way more expensive than mine. But
John, how many cars do they put in that facility? How many cars are in that building? Do you know?
I don't even have a guess rate.
Okay.
I mean, it's a huge facility.
Because now the other thing is you're in there with other people you don't know.
Yeah.
But the other thing, you can't put if you had a project car where you trailered it in, it's got to be registered and insured.
Right.
You can put it in the storage unit.
Oh wow, that's kind of weird. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
That is true.
They're doing a CYA.
Yeah, big time.
I guess. I mean, I could see them wanting to have insurance. You can have a car insured and not have it registered, though. So.
Yeah, but they wanted reg, insurance.
All right. Well, I guess that's their prerogative if that's what they want. Yeah. I mean, the insurance is the important part because if that car burns or gets damaged, that's on you. You have insurance that'll cover that. So, like I said, you can do that. Regardless of registration.
I don't blame them for doing that. I mean, you could have a guy that has got $1 million car, and
John, just to interrupt you 1 second, a lot of insurances, a lot of classic car insurance, they pretty much need to know where the car is stored, and a lot of times that rate that they charge is because you're storing the car at your house or on your property.
I don't know how they determine.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's a difference.
It's a weird thing because the guy that I bought the car from said, "Yeah, go to Haggerty's," and I looked Haggerty's, and some of the classic car insurance, you can't take the car and go to a restaurant and park it in a public
Well,
park?
yes, I will say this. Haggerty, I have Haggerty. I've had them for many years, and I have 4 cars on their policy, and they are, I think, one of the most lenient as I've talked to other guys. But
Yes.
none of them, they all say the same thing. You cannot use that classic car as a replacement for your daily car. So
Correct.
you don't take it to the mall and leave it. If you take it to the mall for a car show, that's a different story. But you can't park it at Macy's and go shopping. They don't want you to use it as a replacement work vehicle because your other car is in the
Right.
shop.
Can't commute with it.
They're all like that. They all say that because it's not an average vehicle, you know. But like it used to be, we had I think we had Alan Blay on the show many years ago when I think that's when. Right before I put my Impala on the policy, they actually took that car, and it wasn't even 10 years old yet. And he said, yeah, we will take that car because we know people are treating them as collectibles, and they're not going to drive them the same way, and they want to take care of them. So they were much more lenient with those cars.
But in years past, they used to limit the mileage,
They
like
did.
2,500 miles a year. They don't do that anymore.
Haggerty does not.
Right.
Unlimited. They said you could. They told me drive that car every day of the year. Take it, use it all the time. As long as you're with it and you're or going to an event, you're fine. You can. We don't care what the mileage you run up in.
Haggerty's is definitely one of the more liberal.
Right.
But the crazy part was, and I don't even know if I'm into, where it's collectible. It's going to be 20 years old.
Well, all the Corvettes, John, all Corvettes kind of fall into that category of collectability because they all, they have a very long history of a collectible, just like Jaguars and other cars.
The insurance company knows you're not going to use it as a pickup truck.
I mean, some people do use them as daily drivers. They really do. I have a friend who uses a Vet as a daily driver. But most of the I don't know about most. Many of them are not. They're used as sometimes vehicles. So yeah,
wreck vehicle.
You're always
recreation.
The most shocking thing was I called up the insurance company that have both my daily drivers on. I said I want to insure it full coverage, glass, collision, and they were within like $40 or $50 a Haggerty.
Okay.
Really? Yeah, I've heard that too, John.
I can drive it every day, park it anywhere I want.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because it's a newer model vehicle, they'll do that because other people do register them as daily drivers.
Well, knowing what you own, a 20-year-old car is not a newer model vehicle by my standard. But
no, but plenty of people do drive. I mean, I'm driving a Mazda today. How old is that? That thing's what, 2002. So I'm driving a 22-year-old car. It's just, I mean, there's plenty of cars that age that are still on the road and just daily drivers.
It just shocked me when I called up and said, I called my insurance agent up and said, yeah, I'm buying this before I go to Haggerty's or, one of the other collectibles where they're restricted. Oh my God! Yeah, you can use it in the parade, but don't park it in the parking lot after the parade.
The thing that's nice about Haggerty too, and I'm sure some others, they will cover your parts, spare parts and parts for that car, and they'll also what do you call? And then I also got another towing, more towing insurance through Haggerty, flatbed towing, which you do have on your other insurance too. So now I have dual coverage with that. But Haggerty, I paid a little extra, and I have a 125-mile range. I can get towed anywhere, 125 miles from home. I can get towed back home.
That's great.
For whatever it's worth on towing, I was reading something on my credit card the other day. I'm covered for towing under my credit card.
Yes, many times you are. But the question is, who's doing the towing?
Right.
And do you want those people hooking your Corvette? And I'll tell you, that's why you want to go with a company who knows classic cars. And I mean, let's face it, Haggerty isn't coming out with a flatbed. They're sending somebody else, but the people they're sending speak classic cars, and they know, they know the drill, so to speak.
And in true motor mouth lingo, your mileage may vary.
No, absolutely, absolutely, very true. All right, John. Well, thanks for that info. We appreciate it.
No, you just hit a sore spot.
Yep, we do that every week.
That's our job, John.
We've out of storage, which I did last year, probably May, June, and kept it under a waterproof cover in the driveway.
Sure.
And I went, I didn't use the storage unit from like May until November.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
And I went,
I know. But you paid, but you guaranteed your spot. So it's the cost of doing business at that point, I guess.
yeah, well, I threw caution to the wind and I said, I'm going to do the same thing this year. And I canceled the storage unit. I'll find one again in the fall.
Okay.
But, oh my God, finding a local garage.
Right. No, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
No. Gotcha.
All right, we get it. We get it. And
All right,
that's
John. Well, good luck finding a.
Have a great day.
All right.
Awesome show, and I'm listening.
Thanks, John.
thanks, John.
So long.
Talk to you soon.
All right. Also, there's guys out. I don't think they're listening, but our friends are at 2 big shows this week. There's probably 12 big shows. We're in the rain date already from a couple weeks ago. But Bobby and the guys from the Long Island Olds Club are at Fireman's Field in Merrick doing the old show, the Spring Dust Off.
Oh wow, very
Spring
nice.
Dust
They
Off.
got a good day. I think
So
they
we
got
got a bunch of friends there, and Cliff and Rick. I know they're over at the Westbury Gardens. Stan and the guys in the Corvette Society went to Westbury Gardens. Big show up there. So yeah, it's car show day today. Everybody's out and having I think they were a little cold this morning. It was like, where's the coffee pot?
Yeah, up here especially. I mean, it's what is it, June 1st, and we had a balmy 49 degrees this morning.
They were like, yeah, in the low 50s. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, what the heck? Turn up the heat.
Yeah.
But it's true. Insurance matters. I assume it matters if you're storing a vehicle in a storage facility. I bet you the first call after you make the deal with the storage facility, the first call should be to your insurance company and say, hey, look, car's not going to be here. It's going to be there. So like John says, your according to insurances, your rates may vary.
Well, I'll tell you this too. My good buddy Jeff, the glass guy, he's got a couple trucks and he's got classic insurance, and they were asking him for where he stored those trucks. They wanted pictures.
Yep.
And he was kind of complaining because he was kind of in between at the time. They've never asked, and I shouldn't even say it, but they've never asked me to I mean,
Yep.
It was back, I guess it was, I had my Challenger. So I had the Challenger and the GTO. That's pre this show. So that's like, I think it was the late 90s. It was the late 90s. And Alan Blake came to my house and he appraised both of those cars and gave me a policy on both of them. And that was the last that anybody has seen my cars or asked me. I mean, I actually play the game. So I have 4 cars on the policy. So I sometimes lower the coverage on one, raise it on the other. I move it. It's like a shell game. I move it up and down.
Okay.
And I think they have a scale where it's within reason. Like if you jump a car value up $50,000, they may want to say why.
Right.
But with the GTO, once I restored it, I raised it. Then I had to paint it. I raised it again. Now I need to raise it another time. And they don't really question because I'm not going by huge increments. I'm going commensurate with the car's value.
Right.
But I've never been
being realistic about it.
I've never been asked about my storage and other things, or even pictures of the car to prove the condition.
It's funny you should. Yeah, it is interesting, and it's kind of funny because the last time I had to submit a picture to an insurance company with classic car insurance was the TR6, and I was in Brooklyn. Yeah. And being here, I think they probably look at the address and go, "There's a garage there. Come on." Like, why waste the time of the adjuster to go out there and take a look? There's a garage there.
Well,
he's going to put it in the
Brooklyn,
garage.
I think the chance is better that you wouldn't have a garage.
In Brooklyn.
Yeah, in Brooklyn, yeah.
Right. It's so funny because who knows what insurance companies are thinking? What are they thinking? I'm going to park it in the street?
Right. Well,
they had it in mind.
Right.
I don't think I owned that car for 20 years. I don't think I left it in the street longer than 10 minutes.
All right. Let's go to the phones. And the fun and say, Cole, you're on with the Motor Mouths.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Tony here with Rick and Rick.
All right, Tony, what's going on? How are you?
Hey, Tony.
Good.
Rick and Rick, yes. Oh, all the boys.
Hey, Rick and Rick.
At Westbury Gardens today, right?
Yeah, beautiful day. Tons of cars. A lot of nice people here.
A little cold this morning?
Mechanics. What's that?
Were you guys a little chilly this morning?
Oh, we're cold.
Yeah,
definitely cold. The sun goes in, it gets cold, yes.
Yeah.
That's all right. You know what? You got the portable sunshine. Just let Tony smile. Everybody gets warm when he smiles.
He radiates a lot of heat.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny.
I'll tell you, there's cars here which I personally have never seen. I mean, very unusual cars here. You know, we got Rick's Studebaker here, of course, Tony's C2, but there's some crazy stuff. C1. Oh, I say two. Sorry.
Right.
But there's some really crazy stuff here I've never seen before. There's a lot of cars here.
Like what, Rick? What's some of the oddball stuff?
You know, a couple of Billy's. Chris Mazzilli brought his '83 Corvette that was never made.
Never made, yeah.
Put together.
Wow.
It was never made.
Okay. He put it together.
A lot of vintage, like oddball, kind of like from Studebakers to cars that were more like modified. What else do we see?
I tell you what, I saw a Hudson come in. I had no idea what it was. It was
Nice.
an old pickup truck with a car front, but it had a bed.
Yeah.
I went up
Yeah.
to the guy and I'm like, what is this? He goes,
48, 47, 48 Hudsons.
Wow.
I'm going to shoot you a picture of that car because that was an unusual car, another one of the unusual ones.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, Hudson did that then. Hey, Rick, how many people have confused your Studebaker with something else?
Almost everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, the
What
only
is-
thing you could think that would be like an early box Nova.
Yeah, what?
And I heard Falcon, too.
A Falcon.
Falcon.
Wow. Yeah. Something else.
Yeah,
We saw Studebaker wagon at the event yesterday that was this really bright blue and white. I know it couldn't be a stock color. Very cool.
That was the Studebaker or the Rambler?
Oh, I'm sorry, it was a Rambler. You're right. Yes, it was a Rambler.
Ah.
There you go.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, Rick, I'm a closet Studebaker fan, so I would have stepped right up to it. Ray described it to me, and I knew what it was just by his description. So,
Right.
good stuff. But
nice looking car too.
And I said, let's call in and say hi to everybody.
We got
man.
Stan over here.
Oh, Stan's walking up.
Excellent.
On the radio.
Stan, say hello. You're on Motormount.
Hey, Ray.
Hey, Stan, how are you?
Hey, Stan.
Stan, president of Corvette Society. Chris, we're going to get Stan in here, and hopefully we'll get him in here with Will one of these days. We'll talk about the state of the hobby.
Oh, love it.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
It's a little chilly here today, but it's all good.
Right.
Stan, what do you have? What kind of Corvette?
67 convertible.
Small block, big block?
Small block. No, I'm a small block guy.
Nice.
Right.
Turnkey, they run. You have to worry about them. They don't.
That's what he drove today. Stan's got about 5.
Wow.
Stan has a few, yeah.
Good. It's all good.
Yeah.
But But
It seems like every car club is here. I mean, is this bigger, do you think, this year than the past?
you know what? I haven't walked around, so I don't know. It might be.
There's a lot of cars.
There's a lot of cars.
You know, guys, and don't forget, the Long Island Olds Club is doing their show in Merrick. They'll draw like 300 cars as well. So there's no shortage of iron on Long Island.
Wow.
No,
That's
for sure.
Yeah.
No, that's for sure.
No, Ray, Billy was here. He was asking about you. I told him he should call into the show today as well.
Yeah, Billy Velvet is at the show, right? He's there with Hank. Yeah. Oh,
Right?
Yeah, he's with Hank.
very good. Yeah. If you see him, sure. He's got the number. He knows how to get us.
Yeah.
Very cool. You guys got the A-team.
Listen, man, we just said we'll call in and say hello.
All right, guys. Thanks for the call, and we'll talk to you all soon.
You got it.
All right, guys.
All right, guys. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Enjoy the show.
All right. From the
Stay warm.
Gee, that's kind of like the impetus of how my tenure on this show started. It was you wanted to have Bronk, the past co-host, at a car show calling in, and here we are. Now we have our friends calling in from car shows.
And you know what? It never gets old. I love it.
No, I know.
I love it.
Actually, the cell phone technology's gotten a lot better. Remember in those days?
Oh my gosh. Holy smokes. You'd hear like the wind going.
Yeah.
It's like,
So the wind blew in now and told me it's the bottom of the hour, you numbskull. Make sure you do your stuff. So I should do
Yes.
that right now. I will tell you, look out the WHPC weather window. And
what do you see, Ray?
the guys at Westbury Gardens told me as well. Yeah, it's partly cloudy. It's more than maybe partly cloudy. It's sun is in and out. It's at the point where the sun comes out, it's warm. The sun the clouds come in and you go like, it's freaking cold.
We used to call it peekaboo sun.
There you go. It's peekaboo sunshine. They said the high of 67 today. I don't know. It's breezy, so it doesn't feel like 67. Right. Tonight, some more clouds, low of 53. We're going to have a nice week, though, in the 70s, and everything should be pretty cool. And that weather forecast is powered by Pantano's Gourmet with locations in Hewlett and Uniondale. And I must say that
tell us something that we need to know, Ray.
Yeah, you can win a $100 gift card to Uncle Baccala's Italian Seafood and More, one of my favorite Italian joints, just for downloading and using the free WHPC app.
Nice.
So I think of app, I think of appetizer. It's like I'm thinking of like big clam.
Think of appy.
I want some prosciutto. I know you like the provolone. I'll take
an appipasto.
There we go. Right. Do you like the hot or the cold antipasto? What's your favorite? Do you like it?
I like both.
Yeah, I kind
of gravitate towards the cold, but I like them both.
A nice cold. Yes, I will agree with that.
Yeah.
But if you listen to WHPC anytime, like now, or anywhere,
it'll make you hungry.
Or anywhere, like the guys at Westbury Gardens right now, and maybe Bobby at the old show. You can register to win for that $100 gift card inside the WHPC app. So you go to your Play Store of choice and you can download that. Uncle Baccala's Italian Seafood and More is located at 23-70 Jericho Turnpike in Garden City Park. Easy to find, easy to get to. And the WHPC app is located at the Google Play or Apple App Store. Good luck from the voice of Nassau Community College and the free WHPC app.
Yes.
So with that, do we have a honor group of the hour for the people?
Yes, we do. And also the second half of this fine program, I will tell you something that has happened to me that has not happened in about 10 years, almost to the month. But anyway.
I got a funny answer for that one. I'm going to say it.
The Motormouth Radio Honor Group of the Hour this week, the guy who travels with a full set of tools at all times. You know that guy, the one who doesn't pack light, he packs right, just in case the apocalypse happens and it's carburetor related. And when he does pack light, it's only bringing one rolling toolbox. The guy who never knows when you'll need to rebuild a transmission at a rest stop, and apparently neither does he. His glove box may not have gloves in it, but it will have a multimeter, a flare wrench, zip ties, and probably a backup alternator. And of course, he's the guy you want nearby when your check engine light turns into a check everything light. So if you know that guy, or if you are that guy, Ray, then give yourself a big pat on the back because you are part of the Motormouth Radio Honor Group of the Hour this week.
Nice. You know what? I've carried less and less tools as we go on these days. I think I don't know again because I have a.
But you were that guy. You were.
But I have a good Haggerty policy, and they will come and
drag you home.
And you know what? I got friends. I got friends with flatbeds. So I'm like, yeah, come get me, Mike. So all right.
I have friends with flatbeds.
Yes, I do. And I know how to use them, so don't fool around. All right,
wow.
We'll be back
with high praise.
We'll be back with more Motormouth Radio after this quick break on 90.3 WHPC. Let's see what the old Ford has to say.
Cruising down the strip in my sharp little Ford. Yeah, it's a 41.
We'll be back with answers to your car questions. Give us a call at 516-572-7440. Oh, I should have said the Motormouth thing.
This show on 90.3 WHPC is brought to you by CarStar Celebrity Chase Collision, with 2 locations in Limerick and Oceanside, who remind you that New York state law says you always have the right to choose which shop will fix your car. CarStar Celebrity Chase Collision offers a full range of services, 24-hour towing between Montauk and Manhattan, shuttle service, and they can help you with a rental car arrangement if needed. All repairs include the CarStar lifetime nationwide warranty, ensuring that the experts at Celebrity Chase Collision are always on your side.
Y sí, hablamos español.
More information is available at 516-593-0920 or online at celebritychasecollision.com.
It's a call-studded program. We do have another caller on the line. Caller, identify yourself.
Anthony, I called those guys with the cars one time.
Oh, nice. The Motormouth guys.
Oh, yeah, those good old boys.
There you are. Anthony, where are you calling from?
I'm in Freeport. Yeah, this morning I miss it. My boss was, every time I turn it on, he turns it off. I say, whoa, 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 whoa. Yo, you better, may I give him a karate chop?
That's right.
Give him a karate chop.
Give him an F5. Give him an F5.
I love it.
Later, dudes.
It's a pleasure, bro. Take it easy. That was
amazing.
My favorite caller
of all time.
Maybe all time. I have heard him with the Motormouth guys. That's why I recognized him a little.
Hey, you, get over here. Every Sunday, 12 to 1, you are going to tune in to hear the Motormouths, my friends Ray Guarino and Chris Switzer. 90.3 FM, WHPC. You might learn something.
41 Ford, stroked and bored. Remember that?
Right. Never bored.
4 1/4, and it's never bored. Yes, that's 41 Ford by some obscure band from the 50s.
So basically, when you're stroked, you're never bored. I'm not going.
Never.
Yeah.
So you got a story to tell us, I hear.
Yes, I do. First, I just want to let you know that Jim texted us at 203-670-4127. He said he got turned down by Haggerty because he doesn't have another car registered to him.
That's correct. You need to have not only another car, but it has to be a newer car.
Right.
And they have an age range, like it's got to be within 10 years old or something.
You have to prove you have a commuter car.
And I actually took that up with them once. I said, you know what? I have a fault with that. I said, what if my daily driver, my beater, is a 56 Chevy or a 63 Chevy? No, you have to have something that's more in line. I said, but what if all I have is old cars? What if I'm not eccentric, that I don't have anything newer than 1970? And they said, well, go find another insurance company.
Go find another insurance company, yeah.
I said, okay,
they're good at that.
2012, whatever, yeah. But, it didn't apply to me, but I was curious because, hey, I do have a couple of friends who drive nothing but old iron.
Yeah, no, it's true. And I know those friends. Very true. So, just... When was it? A couple of days ago, pulling the tracker, which is also a 2002, like your Mazda.
Yeah.
I'm pulling the tracker out of the garage, park it. I load it up with my lawn cutting equipment, and because I'm a part-time landscaper at times, so I load it up with lawn cutting equipment. I get in the car to go on my adventure. I start it up. I hit the brake. It goes right down to the floor.
Oh, great. You need some help over there.
Oh, so I get onto the car and I see it gushing right out of one of the tubes that went from, now mind you, it's a sophisticated system back there because you have a rubber hose going from the chassis, from the hard line on the chassis that runs to the rear, and then a tube that runs off that to the passenger side wheel cylinder. Comes out of the passenger side wheel cylinder, another tube runs across the over the rear end to the driver's side wheel cylinder where there is a bleeder valve.
You said that. I've never seen that, but I will say this. Up your nose with a rubber hose. Sorry, I had to do it.
Twice as far with a Hershey bar. Anyway. Sorry,
that's
we
Mr.
know
Barbarino.
Yeah. Anyone over the age of 40 is laughing. Under the age is going, what?
What the heck was that? Exactly.
So now here I am having to decide what to do with this. Do I go get a pipe, a tube, and bend it myself? And
it's a hard line.
Yeah, hard line.
Okay, easy.
So what I did was, now mind you, I like to put in the exact brake line that was there. I'm not going to bend anything like my longtime radio colleague here. I don't have the patience for it. I just want the existing tube to be placed where the old one was.
Okay. Now your options are very, very much more limited.
And taking a step back, 10 years ago this month, I found the piece of the bill, the invoice, to get a tube professionally bent. And I think you were the one that recommended the place to me because one of the brake lines on the Pathfinder that I had many years ago had split, the hard line split, and I had to replace that. But of course, no salvage yard would sell me a brake line. No, everybody's like, no, liable, no, insurance, no, not selling you that.
There's no reason to buy a junk line, yeah.
Well, if it's in good shape, why not? Because
you can get a new piece of line that's going to be much more reliable.
It all depends on condition. I really do. If the tube is in good shape, I will take a brake line that is already pre-bent and just undo it from its ends and then put it in within minutes.
You know, I'm not going to say no, but I will say this, and that's it. I'm going to say they do rust and degrade from the inside out.
Agree.
So
I do understand.
So, okay.
That's why, with the caveat that condition is important. Condition is paramount.
Yeah.
And let's move on.
Okay.
Well, anyway, so sure enough, I go to look to order these brake lines. Now, mind you, we're talking about a 2002 Tracker that, of course, I have to order things from halfway around the globe. So I'm thinking, I'm not going to find this in North or South America, maybe South America, but certainly not here, not within this hemisphere. So, of course, I go researching it and I find the exact line. I find it for $12. But it has to be shipped from Shanghai, China, and that will cost $84.
Wow.
So I'm like, not ordering that. But I did find a whole kit for the rear end brake lines, the 3 pieces. There are 3.
Oh, okay.
I don't know where that 3rd piece is. I'm going to find out soon enough. But I have to order it from Delhi, India.
Oh, geez.
And mind you, it's for the older generation Suzuki Samurai Geo Tracker, not the Chevy Tracker. But I'm thinking, here's my thought process. They're all the same.
You know what? I tell you what, take the line off, put it in a mailer, send it to me. I'll make you a new line that's exactly the same size. And you won't have to. I'll go to the deli, right? We'll save you the trip to New Delhi. I'll go to the old deli and get a coffee and a Twinkie.
You get a sandwich and it's fixed.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
this is not a big deal, Chris. This is not a big deal. Making it a really big.
Well, here's the thing. I think to myself, if, like you say, condition is important. So if one line went bad, you know the others are bad under
Okay.
there.
Well, if you want to follow that, yes, that's.
That's what I'm doing. I'm going to replace them all.
So what are you going to do from the front to the back? You changing that too?
I'll leave those.
There you go, right? It's always the weakest link in the chain. And I've had them in a car where I had a brake line pop. I spliced in a piece. Then it popped, a foot
Right.
up, and then it popped. So, yes.
I've had that too. My Electra was famous for popping brake lines.
That's my Riviera that did that.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Buick thing.
That's when I got lambasted by Chuck saying, Chris, you got to double flare.
Because you can't single flare, you have to double flare. But you can buy, now the parts stores have brake lines made up in specific lengths.
Oh yeah, pre-bents.
I always try to find one that's a specific length that's already made and flared. And if I can use that, maybe it means I got to put a little bit of an S jig in it to make it a little bit shorter.
Right.
I'll do that. And I have no problem with cutting and flaring, but it just saves me the time.
Sure. Now here's this is the kicker, and I've always said this. I sometimes have the luck of the luck, whereupon I lose brake pedal pressure on my driveway 6 feet from my garage.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Because this could have happened anywhere. And of course I walk into the house and tell the wife, and she's like, brake line, car's a piece of junk. I said, wait a minute. I says it split right at the garage.
Right.
So all I had to do was back the car back into the garage.
He doesn't realize what a gift that really is.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's like
what a gift.
Gas as you coast into the gas station.
Because this could have only happened getting off the highway at speed.
Right.
And next thing you know, I'm in a ditch somewhere.
Yeah.
So it's
now the only thing I would be curious about on that vehicle, and you need to be careful what you're doing, it could be metric lines.
Right.
So that means metric fittings, and it could be a bubble flare, not a traditional double flare, flare. So these are things you should check out. So when you get the new line, really inspect the ends very closely, do a dry fit on the threads, make sure it fits.
It's another reason why I wanted to go stock, and I wanted to get a stock piece instead of customizing a piece myself. Exactly. To alleviate those questions.
Because this has happened to me. I've ordered lines from the auto parts store. Just because they send it to you doesn't mean they send you the right one. I had them send me 2 lines. I needed 2 sticks of 3/16 line, and the first one I go to put in, I'm test fitting. I'm like, man, these threads feel weird. And what is it? And I'm looking. No, the first one was a metric line, and the second one was the American line. So, and I think if I remember correctly, the metric lines come with black tags on them, and the American lines had a white tag.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, I do believe. But this
will
one, the
keep an eye
tag
out.
was like missing. So, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay,
So
that's
so
good.
right now I'm in the process of spraying the ends, just
Oh, right.
spraying them off the wheel cylinders with what I like to call useless penetrating fluid.
No, well, you got to get the right stuff. I've told you what to use.
It's all urine. I think it's
No.
all a big bunch of hoopla.
I just had this talk yesterday with Cliff and Rick. We were talking about penetrants, and there are different ones, and they do some of them. I'm using one now on a set of ratchet wrenches. Now, the ratcheting part of the ratchet wrench is very close to the body of the wrench. You couldn't put a piece of paper in there. But the liquid I'm using, you put a drop. It's so viscous. You put a drop on, it sits on top, and it disappears.
Oh, wow.
It just goes right into that gap. This stuff will actually wick up the threads of a bolt. The good stuff. So
Really, what is the good stuff? What is the good stuff, Mr. Wizard?
Well, I'll put out two brands that I'm using. One of them is Kroil.
I remember you telling me Kroil.
Right? And Trizol, which is the stuff that I get from an undisclosed source from an undisclosed location. I don't know if that's readily available.
I was going to say friends with flatbeds string their
they work the same
their ugly
way.
heads up.
Kroil does the same thing, and you can buy that in an aerosol. I have it in a liquid form. It is it's like sewing machine oil almost, and it literally wicks into the thread. I use it on everything. Whenever I do a carburetor, I lube the butterflies and the linkages with just a half a drop. I use it when I clean the guns. That's what I put on the slides because it doesn't. It's good stuff. So yeah, you need some really good lubricant.
I have to go into the confines of the basement here and find my slot car box and find the oil there, because I think that used to be sewing machine oil. I think they used that. We used to use a version of that. So, and I think I still have a tube of it after about 40 years.
Before we forget, I want to just throw something out here because it's show pertinent. Between the social media accounts, there's people, of course, that we follow that are associated with the show. Other people are not. You find people that you follow. And there's a guy I've been following for a long time now, Don Cobb. He's an artist. And this last week, he puts in his art is phenomenal. He follows this show on Instagram and he communicates. He'll send little notes and talk about things. So I always answer him back.
Oh, cool.
He's down south somewhere. And this week, his artwork is phenomenal, and I always love it. Well, there's always that tipping point where you say, "That's it, I'm buying it." He hits something that's in my wheelhouse. Look at this original.
You bought a art litho of McCormick black pepper can.
Now, anybody who knows me or has eaten with or near me knows how much I love black pepper.
You do.
I have made, my wife says, Jesus, the eggs used to be yellow. I can't even see them. When the guy comes to the table with the grinder and says, would you like pepper on that? My wife just shakes her head and says, you're going to be here a long time. I tell the guy, dude, do you have one that's motorized? I said, give it to me and come back.
Right, your wrist is going to fall asleep.
Because you're never going to put enough on for me. So when I saw that, he also did a Morton salt. I think that's going to be the next one I buy. It's just so realistic, and these are great to hang, in the kitchen because they're food. So Don,
that is actually very cool.
So it's very cool that Don follows us and likes what we do on the show.
Yeah.
And I like what he does. So again, I like to cross support, and I like to
smart move. I have to look at his work.
Well, go to Etsy, and when I asked him how do I buy your work, he said my Etsy store has all of it, and I had to open an account, a login account on Etsy, which is a big deal. And he has a lot of stuff on there, a ton of stuff you see. So thank you, Don, for the great artwork.
Very cool.
And I will be buying more.
When I was a young man, I used to use a lot of salt on fries and on potato. When I started putting salt on salad, I knew I was in trouble. So what would you say? I've moved my salt usage. I've replaced it with pepper usage. So now I don't use as much as you do.
Right.
But I supplemented my salt intake with pepper. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get it. That is a lot of fun. I like that. And it's something, I always love artwork that you stop and it starts a conversation where you look at it and go, what's this? It's not just flowers. It's not just trees. It's not just a scenic landscape. It's something unique. And yeah, that would look great in the kitchen.
Oh, sure. There's I mean he's done Louisiana hot sauce.
Oh, cool.
You know, he does a little bit of everything. Like I said, the stuff is just so realistic. So yeah, that's
He
cool.
did a bottle of Louisiana hot sauce. I love it. And that's art. That's artwork to me. It's
Hey,
very Andy Warhol-ish,
yeah,
but it's
well
very cool.
that's what Cliff said. He was saying, "Who did the soup can?" Like, ah, that was yeah, Warhol. So
Andy
yeah, very
Warhol.
much, and it's a throwback. So something else now that I have to work on that I'm having a little trouble with is I'm debating on installing the dual electric fans in my car.
Okay. But you don't have a lot of room, if I last remember
Well, yeah, but
correctly.
I picked up some fans from Bill Carberry, and they're very narrow. I'll put them
Mhm.
behind the radiator as puller
Right.
fans. But the question I have is, and actually I talked to Pirate Paul about this. I was asking Rick about this yesterday, and everybody has a different idea. The strategy to trigger the fans. So what I wanted to do was knock the engine temperature down because I was in like the 190s last year, and I
Right.
didn't like that. I was always in the 180s. So I can trigger the fans from the Holly Sniper, which will trigger it off of the engine coolant temperature sensor like a regular car.
That sounds like a plan.
And you can go in there and tell it what temperature to turn them on, what temperature to turn them off. So you can do that.
Okay.
So that would be, one or both of the fans you could do. The
Right.
other way is off the vintage AC. The trinary switch has a line.
I was just thinking of that. The AC, and that when you turn the air conditioning on, it automatically kicks on the fans.
Now, Bill Carberry recommended always use the trinary switch because that's looking at the system pressure. And if the pressure in the AC system is too high or too low, it will switch to it. That's when it'll turn the fan on. I said, oh, well, that's good too. So the question is, if I have the first fan turn on with the engine coolant temp and save the second one for the AC, there's a lot of times I'll be driving without the AC on. And
Right.
if I only have one fan.
Right.
And maybe I'd want two, but they're all
Right.
triggered. So I got to see if I could do like an and or gate. It's almost like, I'm thinking like almost like an op amp, to do like an and or kind of a strategy.
Yeah, because when you're sitting in traffic on the Cross Island Parkway at 85-degree weather,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
want two fans.
I would want them both on with or
Right.
without the AC. Correct.
Right.
So that's where I'm at now with the strategy. I don't know how to make that triggering method happen. That's why I thought Paul may be a good guy to talk to because he can get a little more complicated than me sometimes and figure it out faster. So his brain's a little younger than me.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You
Yes.
can get in the weeds on a subject like this, right?
Right. No surprise there. So anyway, if anybody has any ideas they want to share, they could find our social media pages. You can comment there. You can comment on our YouTube videos, or you can send us an email at mmr@ncc.edu, and I'll be happy to listen to all your.
That's right. Help out the motor mouths. Comment, and comment on our videos whether you like them or not.
Right.
Comment on what we do. Sometimes, Ray, it may be remarkable, but sometimes we may say something wrong.
Right.
You think?
Right. So
maybe not.
Tony's telling me that he's got the fence, and I know what Tony did. He has a pusher and a puller. He went up. He went.
Yeah,
both.
but what about the fans?
I know. I know. I can make. Like I said, what I want to do, Tony, the strategy is to maybe like an and or kind of thing. Like if the temperature is over 195, both fans on. If the AC is on, both fans on. Even if the engine temperature isn't at 195. That's what I'm saying. It's got to be like a hierarchy kind of thing. And I'm not
like
sure.
some sort of small primitive computer.
Right, Brian said too that he saw something on YouTube where there's like an oh good gosh button where you could do manual override. Yeah, I actually heard of something this week. The plumber I used,
you could do that,
has an electric fuel pump in his car, and he used a guy who I had a lot of trouble with a few years ago on this show, who actually called me out. And I called him out in the parking lot for a duel, and he never showed up. You'll remember.
Yeah.
Well, he does a lot of work on the plumber's car, and what he said was this fella had wired in an electric fuel pump in his Chevelle, and what he did is he wired a toggle switch, an override switch. So basically, he could override the relay for the fuel pump, like if the relay was bad. I said, well, that's smart. I know how he could do that. I understand how you can do that with the relay. So that was pretty cool. So he was looking to get this thing looked at, and I said, do you know where the relay and the switch is, though? Because, to try and find where somebody else put stuff in a car, it may not be obvious.
Right. And no one, of course, records it to put it in some sort of supplement in a shop manual or anything like that.
No. You see, that's like what I do, too, like with these, the headlight relays I just did with that painless harness. There's 2 relays hanging there now with a fuse. So what I do is I write an H and an L on it. So I know one is for high beam, one's for low beam. I don't think that's too obscure of a thing to write. I mean, what else would you think it would be for?
No, it's true.
Lift? I don't know. And then when I put these relays in for the fans, I'll actually label them too, either fan 1, fan 2, or.
You know what? If push comes to shove, probably a switch that if you hook up the whole system the way you were talking about initially, and then having an override switch that would trigger that second fan for those hotter days instead of having it automatically trigger. Because what we were talking about earlier was one fan going on and the other fan dedicated for AC, one going for heat, the other AC.
Let's do a quickie. Calling around with the motor mouths.
Hey, what's going on, Ray? It's me, Tony, again.
All right, Tony, got to make this end of the show.
Okay. So I hear you talking about the fans. I have the ultimate setup, like on my Vet. I have a fan in the front pushing. I have a fan behind the radiator pulling, and I also have my the regular fan, working off the motor.
Right.
And I have a pretty stout motor in my car, as you know. I can sit on the hottest day in traffic with the AC on, and my car will stay about 190.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
That's the thing, yeah.
Yeah, and I have it off a toggle switch. None of those sensors, nothing like that. When I see the temperature going up, I hit the fans, and she'll sit on the hottest day.
Yeah,
Tony, I'm curious to see if those fans, you're pushing so much air that it just gets trapped in that compartment with the engine and doesn't flow out.
Yeah, but he stays cool, so it works.
Yeah, I guess success is the best way of telling.
All right, Tony, we got to jump. We're at the end of the show, but thank you for the information. I'll talk to you soon.
You got it, buddy.
All right. Bye-bye.
Later, Chris.
Take care, Tony. Thanks for the call again.
That is it. We are at the end of the show. We'll be back next week. We've got some guests that are kind of lined up loosely in the works. These guys are some of them. And then later in this month, we're going to have a couple of replays on because I know I got to do some traveling. We may or may not. Chris is, we'll see what happens with those shows.
Right.
But Brian, I'm going to be putting out the call to you, my friend, because I'm going to need help on. Yes, exactly.
That signal.
Bring up the Matco signal. So, Chris, what I tell the people waiting for you in the parking lot on the way out of here?
Don't follow us home unless you got a big fan.
Yeah, or a good relay strategy. All right, for Chris Switzer, Ray Guarino, Motormouth Radio is out. Oh, Kim just went out the door too. We will be back next week, and we're going to talk about maybe we'll talk about Father's Day gifts, like what guys want for Father's Day. I don't know.
May not be bad, sure.
So keep it where you got to listen to Kim and the best of Springsteen on Thunder Road here at 90.3 WHPC. See ya.
See you, bye.
This show on 90.3 WHPC is brought to you by CarStar Celebrity